Hey folks, well, I never thought that I'd ever be making a video on how to stack firewood, but after I posted my video titled Preparing for the Winter, I had quite a few people write and ask if I would do a video and show how to stack firewood and keep it from falling over. Well, I'm doing a bit of stacking, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little video together for you all, and hopefully it'll help you to keep your firewood all in one spot. So here we go. Now in that video I made a comment about stacking it between two trees. Now if you only need a little bit of firewood and you got it stacked between a couple of trees, well, that's fine. But if you require a lot of firewood and you've got stacks between trees all over the place, it makes it difficult to keep it under cover that way. I mean, what you're going to do, if you have 10 stacks, you're going to need 10 tarps, you know. It just makes more sense to just have it all stacked in one cube, cover it up with one tarp, and it's just more convenient that way. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I go about stacking my firewood. My method of stacking has changed quite a bit over the years, and I've come up with a way that I stack mine and it keeps it all in one spot and it does not fall over. So hopefully it'll answer some questions for you all and help you keep your firewood all in one stack. All right. Now, even though I don't have any chickens at this time, I'm utilizing the coop just the same, keeping my firewood under cover. Now, even though this is surrounded by wire, my firewood stack is self-supporting and it's not pressing against the wire at all, even with the stack being 6 foot tall. So I want to show you here. You see, it's not, my wood's not pressing against the wire. It's all self-supporting. I just have it tucked under here to keep it dry. I don't have any birds this winter, so still utilizing the coop. I got a nice stack of wood in here. I'm gonna stay nice and dry. Now when winter's here, I don't want to be fiddle farting around. I depend on my firewood for fuel. I want to have it all handy, easily accessible, nice and dry. I want to have all my kindling cut and split and under cover and a bunch of fire starter cached away. I see a lot of people have their firewood out in the weather, buried in the snow, getting rained on. Makes no sense to me, but I really don't care what they do. I don't live there. But anyway, let's get some firewood stacked. Now here I'm just stacking up some nice dry pine. This is the wood that I use in the fur shed and in my workshop. Now this end will just be stacked against the chicken coop, but even if it was totally freestanding, it would hold itself together. Now in the past, I used to run a stack with a crisscross corner, run another stack in the same fashion with a crisscross corner, and again, and keep repeating the process. So this here would just be all crisscrossed corners, but what that did was all of these stacks were putting pressure against this end, and sometimes they would fall over. Now what a lot of folks do is pound in a stake and let the firewood lean against that, and that works just fine. It will certainly keep your firewood from falling over. Now stacking with the post is just fine. It will indeed keep your firewood from falling over, but sometimes you require a lot of posts. That's stuff you got to buy or make. And then as your stack is coming down and you have your top, you have the post to contend with. If you decide to stack someplace else, then you got to try and pull the post out of the ground. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but the method that I'm using now, I've eliminated the post altogether, and my firewood doesn't ever fall over. So I think you'll like this method. I'm sure you'll find it pretty handy. So here on the outside view, you see I've got a crisscross corner and a crisscross corner, and then the firewood is stacked between them. That end, I'm just using the chicken coop to lean against. Then, on the inside, I have a crisscrossed corner. The firewood is coming across in a crisscross corner. Now this is just a small stack, so then this middle stack, I can just put them in here. It doesn't really matter which direction the firewood is going. But generally, what I will do is I have an outside perimeter, and then an inside perimeter, and the firewood, the direction of the firewood is changing. I don't always crisscross the corners on here, but over in the chicken pen, I did not crisscross the inside corners, and as you can see, that stack is self-supporting. It's not pressing against that wire at all, and that stack is 6 foot tall. I started out with this stack with crisscrossed corners. And then I'm working the outer side, the perimeter, and I'm just leaning against the crisscrossed corner on both ends. I'm going to do the outside perimeter first. And then I start another stack, and it's leaning, this stack is pushing against the butt ends of those. And then this stack is going this way and pushing against the butt ends of those, with these going in here. So you have one stack going this way and a stack out going this way, and then these stack against that stack, and then these stack against that stack, and these stack against that stack, and so on. One stack is pushing against another in one direction, then another stack is pushing against another in another direction, and so on and so forth. And it's a really strong stack of wood, and they don't fall over this way. You just got to be a little bit strategic when you're stacking. If you're putting a piece in your pile and it's all rocky, find a better place for it. You make every piece interlock and be nice and sturdy, and you'll have a much better stack of wood that way. You know, make every piece interlock and be nice and sturdy. See, nice and sturdy. This isn't all falling over here. See what I'm saying? Now just keep changing directions. These go against there, those go against there, those go against there, those go against there. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to work myself right out of this woodshed. I'm just going to stack this last stack right against the door here. I don't need to have the door open and waste all the space here, because I don't think my wood's going to be trying to escape. See? Frankie's over there checking my work. He's always got to check my work. Make sure the joints are tight. Now, as you're stacking, sometime the stack will lean one way or another. And if you just keep laying on firewood at random, your stack will eventually be tilted and want to fall over. Like here, this is the higher end, that's the lower end. Now that's the area where I will use a piece of firewood like this that's got a fatter end or a nub or a branch sticking down, and stick that on that low area, and now the stack is back to level again. Like here again, I have a low spot. My stack is starting to tip there. So this piece of popple here has got the fat end, fits nicely right there, and it leveled my stack back out. Now I can keep on stacking. Now stacking firewood is almost an art form, really. If you don't pay attention to the different contours of the wood and just throw it up there randomly, you'll have a very rickety stack that'll end up toppled over. So there's actually a lot of pride in a nice wood pile. When I have a bunch of firewood all cached away like this, good looking stack, it makes me feel good. I like to look at it. I know I'm going to stay nice and warm all winter. It's just something to be proud of. So keep on stacking. Now your outside corners are the most important part of your stack. Your stack is like a structure, and your corners are the pillars holding your structure together. If you're putting in pieces on here that are rocky, the higher up you get, the more pressure is put upon them, and they're gonna fall over. So here I've got a piece that's rocky. I'm just going to stick a little stick in here. Now it's not rocky at all. Same with this one. A little bit rocky. A little shim tucked in here to sturdy things up, and we're good to go. So here I have a corner that is nice and strong, not rocky at all. I'm pressing, I'm trying to wiggle it. It's not rocking at all. This firewood stack will never fall over. You start putting in stuff like this that are twisted, all rocky, putting in round stock that are nothing but rollers. always want to keep your corners, use the choice material, keep a few sticks close by so as you're stacking, things start to rock. You want to put it in there like I demonstrated, like a nice splits against the corners. This firewood stack will stay up. It'll never fall over. That's what I want. Okay, I've got my stack all done now, and it's all covered up here. And I want to show you something over on this end over here. Now at first glance here, you're going to see my stack is quite a bit lower on one end than it is on the other. And you're going to be thinking that I was hitting a sauce while I was working in the wood pile. I can assure you folks, it was done that way intentionally. Because what I want here is I want my tarp to shed water and not collect it. Now, I'm not dealing with any frozen ropes or cords or anything like that. I have some of these heavy jugs with water. Sometimes I use sand, and they're just hanging. Now, if the jug is touching the ground, it's not going to have the same holding effect. It will allow the tarp to balloon up when the wind blows. Now, all I have on this end of the wood stack is these two jugs, and that will be sufficient. It'll hold the tarp down all winter long. On the back, I let the tarp come all the way down, and it's held down with cement blocks. And the reason is, I'm only gonna access the wood pile from the front here. I'm just gonna work it from the front to the back. So when I want to access my wood, I'm always gonna take the wood right from the front here. I'm not gonna work myself around the stack. I'm just gonna come over, flip that up, take the wood, try and take it evenly, then put that back down. And as my stack is working down, my tarp is going to get closer and closer to the bottom. I don't want this down here folded up like it is in the back. It's just going to get frozen to the ground with freezing rain. It's going to get buried in the snow, and it's going to turn into a bunch of aggravation. I don't want that. As this gets itself down near the ground, I'm just going to go in the back. I'm going to pull the tarp back so it's back up in the air like this. Let snow and ice and whatnot keep the back of the tarp frozen in. As this stack disappears, I'll just pull more tarp in the back, let the snow and ice hold it down, and I'll just keep working myself back. By letting this get down to the bottom, buried in the snow, or by having my stack flat, collecting snow, I'm always going to be fighting that snow and ice all winter long. I've done that too many times than I'd like to admit. I finally smartened up and came up with a better solution. And now that my firewood stack sheds water rather than collecting it, it's eliminated a tremendous amount of aggravation from the process of when you're storing firewood outside like this. Well, there you go, folks. You certainly can't beat having a woodshed, but all of my woodsheds are full. And since I had a little firewood left to stack here, I decided to put a little video together for you, show you the improvements I've made to my wood stacking technique, and hopefully you find the information to be beneficial. Well, you heard me say it many times, folks, but when winter's here, I want to keep my firewood nice and dry and keep it easily accessible. Knowing how to eliminate the frustrations normally involved with tarps and snow and ice, well, that's just good backwoods logic. Yes, sir.